soon as you see speed gaming go on the big screen, the live screen, that's when your mic is hot. Okay.
Sure.
Yep. Okay, I'm still booting up.
So I don't remember, were you in the group that watched the TAS early?
No,
You weren't?
everything is new to me.
So yeah, that's even better. Excellent.
I've only seen like really small part of it.
Cool. So you're gonna have.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a blast. That's for sure.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so we're live, and I'm gonna say hello, people. My name is Dragonfangs. I've been doing tool-assisted runs of this game for a long time now, and this is the latest iteration of the 100% TAS. I've been working on this for the better part of a year, since like last SGQ pretty much. So we're just gonna go through this. I have Mandatobi here with me to bring some genuine reactions and like questions if things are weird. It's gonna use a pretty unique route that is possible RTA, but it's really hard to make faster. So it's a pretty special route. But without further ado, I'm just gonna start this and mostly let it speak for itself. I'm gonna see if I can time this split to start. That should be good, I think. So first of all, the TAS switches to stereo sound, just for better audio, pretty much.
Nice. I can't wait to see the whole thing put together. So should we explain what a TAS is real quick in case someone doesn't know?
That's a good idea.
Are you playing?
I'm not playing right now. This is a movie file I recorded on BizHawk. So I've been recording this using save states and using like frame advance and like being super optimal. And then I'm just replaying. This is just a set of inputs. It's not doing anything crazy. But I have a long list of every button press I need to do in order to finish the game as fast as possible. And I'm just running through that right now. I'm not playing anything. I'm watching the TAS with you guys. Okay.
So, but you've done the TAS of this before, right?
Oh yeah, this is my third version of 100%. So this is my sixth TAS of this game in general, and the third time I've done 100%.
So we're not going to tell anything about the final time, but we can assume that this is faster than the old one?
It's a strange situation, because BizHawk, the previous run was done on VBA, and BizHawk is a clearly more accurate, aka slower emulator. Oh yeah, that boss.
Nice.
Yeah, so that boss takes 3 missiles to kill, and if you hit multiple missiles on the same frame, they all count. Normal runs would hit it with 2 missiles on the same frame. Sometimes, if they can, it's very hard. But TAS gets all 3 on the same frame.
So what are the differences between this TAS and the old TAS besides the route? Like, did you find anything other than, like, are there any differences besides the route?
There are a lot of really tiny optimization stuff. So the route doesn't even change pretty much until we get to Norfair. And up until that point, I still saved almost a second just on minor optimization stuff, like minor movement things.
Nice. So yeah. So thinking about it, I actually don't quite know the route of the old TAS.
Old
Are we
TAS,
seeing?
the old TAS was
are we
pretty
seeing
much a
only
normal
two-
run. It was pretty much like a normal 100% round, except it didn't do early ice because that old TAS was before early ice existed. So it did early Brinstar, it did, and then pretty much a standard 100% route.
Okay. Bombs. 258 bombs.
Yes, that's on English, mind you.
Oh, so I didn't see. Did you get charge beam?
No, it doesn't get early charge beam. I don't really benefit from having, like, the main benefit in normal runs. Oh, by the way, what's
Nice.
wall jumps are nice. So
Wow.
normally in normal runs, it's kind of not obvious if you should go up here early or if you should go here right before Turian. It's kind of contention. But for tool-assisted runs, we just don't have to do the slow bomb jumps up here. We can do weird wall jumps into stuff, which is crazily so much faster.
Especially like the very first wall jump off the door onto the ledge.
Yes.
Is that possible unassisted?
Jumping off the wall, yeah, for sure. Oh no, wait,
Really?
that wall jump, no. That specific wall jump is, I mean, it's possible, but it's really, really hard.
Oh dang.
Also, jumping on crumble blocks, like right there, is frame perfect, so that's also not really viable outside of tool assisted.
Yo, this is so sick. Man.
Doing JBJs off of crumble blocks is not really RTA viable.
Scotty, I hope you're taking notes.
So this is still all very much similar to a pretty standard 100% run. We vary us right there, but we don't have to pick it up in zero mission because we still get it once we activate gravity regardless. So it counts as a percent, even though we don't go in there and grab it.
Ooh, I think I saw some RNG manipulation there. Are you doing RNG manipulation in this part?
Oh, definitely. I'm manipulating the bugs for the vines.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but now that I brought it up, could you briefly explain RNG manipulation?
So RNG stands for random number generator, and it's just like the randomness in the game. Some things take a random amount of time and stuff. RNG manipulation in this game is, as far as we know right now, only possible by delaying things. For stuff like enemy positions and enemy movements and how fast the bugs go in that room, for example. So I have to just make delays earlier in the movie to see what the fastest possible time there is.
Okay, and this is RTA. Like you aim for RTA.
Yes.
Okay.
Also picking up a lot of... So manipulating drops from enemies is slightly different because that's also dependent on the position of the enemy. Which is not really relevant right now, but once we get Ice Beam, being able to freeze an enemy wherever we want really helps with getting the correct drops.
Oh, nice E-Tank.
Yes, grabbing that E-Tank early is faster for TAS because of the little ledge there.
Okay, I don't assume that's possible RTA.
No.
No. Like, just imagine the inputs. Also nice entering crate.
So this route is actually super duper tight on missiles, so we could, in theory, leave this missile tank for later and grab it with like space jump or whatever. But it's so minuscule it doesn't really matter, and I really need extra missiles.
Okay, so but in theory it's faster to skip it now.
Well, yeah, like a couple of frames. It's like super tiny.
Okay.
On that that Asylum skip is a thing of beauty, dude.
Oh man. Jeez. Oh man. Okay.
So this entire thing of skipping Azure Worm until until cleanup is also not really RTA viable. Doing Azeroom skip by itself is completely possible. You can do HPJs. We saw Eagle do that earlier in the 100% hard run. But this room coming up, also known as Boring Room, is really, really hard to do without ziplines active, and TAS just kind of does its thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
that is also not RTA viable.
How do you come up with stuff like that? Do you just trial and error, or?
I have ideas. Just that one in particular was in even the original 100% TAS, where I didn't really know what I was doing, and I just I was annoyed with doing Asteroid Hermit because I ran out of missiles. So I was just tinkering with the possibility of doing that fast.
So how much, in general, how much is trial and error, how much is planning, and how much do you actually, like, how much time do you actually spend tassing, and how much time do you spend planning and thinking ahead?
That depends. Like, I've done a lot of runs of this before, so I know how stuff works. I did spend a lot of time figuring out if this route works or not. So I pretty much had to make like a tiny run from certain points to figure out if the route we're going to get to later was even viable time-wise. But most of it is just spent doing each room by itself. I can figure out what I'm doing everywhere beforehand. And sometimes, like I happened several times through this run, I ran out of missiles and I had to go back and figure out how to get like more drops, or do I need to pick up an extra tank or whatever.
Nice boss fight. Speed boosters.
We tried.
We see some speed booster action.
Oh, there's gonna be some speed booster action. I've tried so hard to kill creating one round, but it's almost possible, but I haven't been able to do it yet.
Whoa. Oh yeah, no zip lines. Okay.
Yeah, so we need to do a Shine Spark there to get back. And also we can't pick up the E-Tank exiting crate because, again, we haven't activated ziplines yet.
Yeah. Nice. Casual 10-minute crate.
And I still need to watch cutscenes. It's atrocious.
I'd love to see this with an input viewer.
So up until this point, it hasn't really differed a lot from the previous 100% TAS. Even visually, it just looks the same, and there are tiny optimizations everywhere that like pretty much aren't visible, that led to the time save so far. But now is when we start getting a bit different. And the first different thing is picking up this missile tank early. And this is just, again, this route is really tight on missiles, and I actually need these. It is faster by about half a second to pick that tank up later, but I really need the missiles.
No way around it?
I mean, I could stop for drops somewhere, but picking up the tank was the fastest way I found to alleviate my missile problem in Warfare.
What about charge beam? Wouldn't it help you to get charge beam?
No.
Because it may, you in some places you might be able to use charge beam instead of a missile or something.
No. So charge beam takes a long time to charge up, and even fully charged, since I don't have any other beams, it only does, I think, like less than half of a missile damage. So I really just need missiles to kill, like, destroy missile blocks and fight bosses and stuff, and charge beam is just way too slow.
Okay.
And picking up charge beam on the way to Turian is the fastest way to grab that anyway, and charge beam is just in a really awkward spot and it's hard to grab without losing time.
Ooh. Didn't know you could JBJ that ledge.
Oh, yeah, it's a really tight. That JBJ is. Don't want to say RTA viable, but it's RTA possible. It's super tight though. This JBJ people do in runs nowadays, which is still crazy to me, but it's.
Ooh, will the TAS do Criteria Super JBJ?
Yes, of course it does. It pioneered Super JBJ.
Okay. Sweet. Oh, it's faster to drop down a bit?
Tiny bit. Because you don't have the bonk at the end, because you get the spark into a slope. It is a tiny bit faster.
Grapple beam. Okay, no, power grip, sorry.
Power grip, yeah.
I heard this
wall
power grip is
jump.
quite good in this game.
Power grip is like the most overpowered item in the tool assisted run, because now I don't have to wall jump anymore. Grabbing a ledge and then jumping off the ledge has a single frame of non-movement. Like you're grabbing the ledge for one frame and then you can jump at full speed again, while wall jumping has like a 5 or 6 frame animation whenever you wall jump.
Ooh, you wasted both your supers though, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Okay, nice fall. Oh man.
So now we're gonna start getting into the actual like new route stuff. So for one thing, the previous task didn't do early ice because we didn't know about the glitch using ice that becomes relevant in Ridley.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yes, so the previous task was very old. So we're gonna go up and grab ice early. We're gonna do something else slightly different. I don't know how much you know about this run, so it's gonna be interesting.
So for that Shinesburg into the big room, wouldn't it be faster to crouch through the door transition?
No, if you want to do a shine spark at any point,
What?
if you want to do a shine spark at any point, you want to do that shine spark as early as possible because shine sparks are faster than speed boosting.
Nice Shinesburg into the heated room. I was totally expecting you to go through the first door.
Yes, I know that. It's a slight debate.
What is going on?
I'm gonna do ice cream spark, but then I don't. So I need to grab that missile early because I'm not coming back down. We'll see.
So I assume Ice Beam is useful?
Ice
Wait,
beam.
you just wall jump through a ripper?
Yes, ice beam is very useful because the physics on frozen enemies is not really correctly made. You can do a lot of weird stuff with enemies that are frozen. So we're taking the shortcut down to Ridley. This bomb jump is like sub-pixel perfect. It is incredibly tight to get this bomb jump.
Nice, all the corner boosts. Why is no? Oh wow! Jeez.
Yes, so
Why is nobody do-
this is the new route we're talking about. So we go down to Ridley before going through Heated Warfare.
no hiding.
And infamously, there is one room in Ridley that quote-unquote requires wave beam. We'll see how it handles that later.
Wait, you got 35 missiles and 2 supers. Is that even enough to kill Imago?
I mean, I guess we'll see.
Stay tuned, guys.
Oh no, the weird spin-unspin thing I did on falling was strictly because it kind of looked dumb. There is, however, a thing with corner boosting where if you spin below a block and then unspin below that block, you get boosted like a couple of, essentially 2 frames worth of movement downwards. So you want to, when you're going down, you want to like unspin below corners as much as possible.
Oh, is it 2 frames actually? I thought it was 1.
It's two frames of movements. It's like 40 subpixels or whatever. I don't remember the exact. Also picking up that tank before the boss music stops. It's nice.
Oh, sweet.
Now Ridley, this way looks kind of weird. I have to do a JBJ here because I don't have high jump. Not having high jump is like a big problem in Ridley.
Oh, okay, you have to. Okay. Oh, okay. Still, well done.
And this is when you see, like, I'm almost out of missiles right now. I'm just barely getting by. And from here on out, it's not as bad. This is like the low point of ammo in the run, and from here on, it's not that tough. And that's the new glitch that was found and made early as viable. If you stand on top of two frozen enemies at the same time, and they both die on the same frame, you kind of get warped to the spawn position of the first enemy, which is in that case is below the floor, letting us skip going through the doors and like getting a speed booster.
Need. So how much time does it save?
It's hard to say. I think there was like 1 second of in-game time, but it also cuts out 2 doors, so that adds like 7 more seconds. I don't remember exactly.
It's only 1 second in-game time?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
But how's that? I mean, you skip so much. You have to like charge up a whole spark in the next room, otherwise. Why did you skip the super drop?
I don't need
Why?
super drops.
Okay. Okay, flow. Because I thought it was more, even in game time. Wow, that was close. Almost got hit by the orb.
Yeah, I just barely cleared that orb. I have to shoot it a tiny bit to make it slow down. And now we're coming into the late wave trick. So this room should require wave because we can't shoot those blocks fast enough. But there's a trick we can do where we can kind of clip into the ground on a slope and then spark down the slope instead of against it, and that still counts as you sparking into a slope and letting you speed boost.
Oh, is that setup faster?
It's not faster, I have to do it, I don't have wave. It's the only way to do that room without wave.
Okay. No, okay.
So allowing me to pick up wave beam during cleanup is a lot faster. That setup is super slow, but it's compensated by the fact that the route is a lot faster.
Nice drops.
Also, I'm just kinda, we have scripts to manipulate drops from enemies, and I'm kinda like trying to get as many super drops that I don't pick up as possible, just because it's funny.
Yeah. Why? Oh, come on. It's like right. Was there ever a big oh dang moment when you noticed you forgot something, or?
I mean, the biggest one was when I ran out of missiles right before Cocoon. And then I had to go back and like replan the thing because I thought I had the missile route figured out, but I was tighter on missiles than I thought. But other than that, it wasn't. I kind of had the thing planned out.
So this walking off a ledge and keeping some of your momentum trick. Oh, more supers, no. Does it also work with Morph Ball?
No, it does not.
Okay.
Also, I really need all of my supers against Ridley, so I lured that bug to the door just to get an extra super drop. Because I have to use a super to kill the door, and it can't drop supers. Having less than 8 supers here means there's a lot more lag in the Ridley fight because it takes longer and he has time to shoot more fireballs. So that extra super is actually really important.
Nice. How many supers does the old TAS have at this point?
10, I think. I'm pretty sure 10.
10. Okay.
But it only fights Ridley using 9.
Oh, okay. No drops picking it.
Yeah, I don't need
Aren't
drops.
you picking up the drops?
I don't need drops.
Okay. So I assume not having high jump or screw attack does alter your movement a lot.
Not
did
having
you have to-
not having high jump is a big deal, and I have to like all this bomb jump is nuts too. That is so precise, getting the power grip off of the bomb jump. Yeah, not having high jump was a big deal, and I lost a lot of time in Ridley because of that, and I had to compensate in weird ways, especially like not having spring ball as a weird. I had to like wall jump out of morph ball tunnels and whatever. Not having screw wasn't that big of a deal. Not having wave was a bigger problem, even outside of like speed jump room. And now this is the cool part where we get to take the natural route to screw attack. This is why the route is good.
I see. Okay, I saw a pod later, and that'll make sense. Okay, getting screw attack now. I see. Okay, now I'm really curious. What this will look like.
Yeah, so this is still a bit weird because I don't have high jump still. So I have to do this room in a particular way. Because without high jump I don't have enough height to reach that missile from the ground.
Oh. Nice, I like that.
I'll be picking these items up now as well. It is,
but aren't you coming back later anyway?
not to these rooms. So I like there's
No for space boost.
yeah, there's some argument for getting back here in cleanup anyway because it's not that far off, but this saves door transitions, which is a
Oh,
big deal.
like all my contributions to this task put together managed to save exactly 1 frame. It was right there.
Was it that bomb jump? I remember streaming that and some people
I
like,
think it was a jump through the door. Like
oh, okay.
you were able to jump a frame earlier.
Because I've been
Nice.
I've been streaming this task a lot, and like while working on it, I'm streaming and having people just hang around in chat talking smack. But sometimes people have ideas that I didn't think about, and that ended up saving time more than once. So that's been a fun experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that room with the super missile was really sick.
And now we finally get to pick up high jump.
Yeehaw. So things will get a lot more easier to task after this.
Yes, high jump is very, very good. Because not only does it let you jump higher, it also makes you jump faster since you have more starting velocity to your jumps. So even tiny jumps become a lot faster with high jump. It's really useful.
Boop. So fast.
So I left a lot of items still uncollected right there, but we'll get there in cleanup later.
Did you ever hit the dead end where you thought, oh, okay, I don't know what to do here, or?
Not while making the task, although I was cleared out in planning. I knew where the route was, like before I actually started making it, I knew where the route was going. I knew in which order I was going to go through all the rooms and stuff. The only thing I wasn't completely sure was do I have enough missiles at every point in the run, and I thought I had that figured out, but not completely.
So you did not have to deal with any major surprises?
No.
Okay.
Like once I since I did my research beforehand, once the run started, it was mostly just optimizing every room and figuring out the optimal movements. Which still took a long time.
Okay, I can see ledge grab here.
Yes, power grip is very, very powerful.
Most important item in the game. Long beam. Does it save time anywhere?
Yeah. Maybe not anymore. It used to, in previous runs, it used to in combination with wave in Chosodia, but I'm not even sure that's a thing anymore.
Oh, you have to shoot every single block there because you don't have a wave.
Yeah, I don't have wave. It's It's weird.
Okay. Yeah, who doesn't waste all his
Oh, yeah.
missiles before Turian?
I've showed this Turian to a lot of people in like GIF format because I really, really like this Turian. I'm not sure if you've seen it. I'm sure a lot of people in chat have not seen it. You are in for a treat. Turian is probably the best part of this run. There's another glitch using Ice Beam that we haven't mentioned yet. We'll see it in action. Along with a couple of other things. So point one, frozen Metroids are slopes. And you can Shine Spark into them to get a new speed booster.
Okay, I think I've seen that before with the Metroids.
Point two, if you freeze an enemy at a sub-pixel perfect position next to a door, it pushes you into the door like a pixel, and it lets you clip through it.
No way, man!
This only works on door on the right side.
Oh, what the...
So I can't actually do it on any other rooms, but those two rooms I'm able to clip through the door.
He does it again, no way. Oh, all those super drops.
And yeah, I got a bunch of super drops right at the end.
What? Whoa.
Yeah, this Turian is something. And in Tool Assisted we are able to do quad supers on the Mother Ring. I also just kind of get 3 super drops on screen because it's hilarious. Red Rinkas have a slightly less than 1% chance to drop a super. Getting 3 super, getting 3 of them like that is about 1 in a million.
Oh, and Shine Sparking is slow, I assume.
Yeah, Shine Sparking up there is slower than Power Grip because Power Grip is ridiculously fast.
How do you do quadruple supers? Like, how
so
does it even work?
So when it's the same like idea as the double supers you can do as a human, where after Mother Brain shoots the beam, she can take a couple of hits. Like there's a time window where if she takes hits, she doesn't close regardless of how much damage she takes. She usually closes her eye when she takes a single super of damage, but there is a time window right after she shoots a beam. So I shoot a couple of supers through the beam and then like really quickly shoot 2 other ones before she has time to get to the point where she would close her eye. And then shoot the fourth one as the one that she reacts to.
Ah, nice. Oh man, it's cutscene. So I assume Turian is like the hardest part to TAS with all this Metroid RNG and stuff?
There is so much RNG in Turian. So obviously there's the drops I need to get working, but there's also Metroids spawn at a random, like they have a random spawn timer from when the camera gets to them until they get vulnerable. They have like a random timer. And that's like manipulating that while doing movement, while trying to control other Metroids, it's super annoying. Metroids once they spawn are deterministic, but they are really finicky. It's like really hard to control their movements, even though they always go like after Samus the way they're supposed to do.
So how do you know what's fastest? I mean, for the last room, for example, you went down to the bottom as quickly as possible and then spawned all the Metroids, but I mean, how do you know what's fastest?
I cannot give guarantees that what I'm doing in Turian is optimal. I can only say that it's fast. Like yeah. It's just I do it the best I can, but I like a lot of the rooms I can say with pretty high confidence that like if they're not optimal, they're pretty close. But Turian, I'm just like this is the best I can do, and I'm gonna stop here.
Perfect stealth. Yeah.
And yes, a new strat here where we get caught on purpose, and then we get 2 pirates to kill themselves. This is faster than doing the long crawl that you have to do in order to not get caught.
Nice.
This is a very RTA viable strat. It's really recent, but people do this in runs the last couple of months or something. Someone actually, I think Scotty found this, and he found this after I finished Suitless. and I had to go back and be like, oh damn, I have to add this now. I had to,
Thanks, Scotty.
I had to edit that in, and then it screwed up RNG for Charlie, and it was like everything was ruined. The sad part about this is since you get caught early, you get the crappy music that happens after you get caught, and it's sad. Old TAS used to have the good music until like ruins.
Why do you jump through that door?
Jumping through doors for doors that scroll, or are you talking about the searchlights?
Yeah.
I have to jump through the door with searchlights because there's a searchlight there and I don't want to get caught, so I end up jumping over the searchlight.
And then you take the bottom route in the big room with all the tripwires?
Yeah, it is slightly faster to go bottom route, even if it activates the alarm. Sometimes jumping through certain doors is faster because of the doors have to scroll into the correct vertical place sometimes.
Yeah. I think I saw something similar in Metroid Fusion.
Yeah, that becomes more relevant later with when you get space jump, because you can actually jump through doors without just losing a bunch of time. Jumping in this game is in general not a good idea, because landing cuts out all your momentum. So like even though the jump itself means that like the door transition is shorter, you end up losing time in the room later on. But with space jump, we kind of like want to go into rooms jumping a lot more.
Samstrad.
Yeah, so yeah, you can, if you go through that room like not optimally fast, the alarm shuts off, which helps right there, and you don't have to wait for a gate to open later on.
Ooh.
It's
Will
safe to
TAS
find
be
it.
fast enough to get the power bombs? Oh,
No, it's no. I try every run, it never works. He's never, you can never shoot him.
So I assume this part is pretty similar to the old TAS.
Yeah,
just
there's not much difference. There's tiny optimizations. Like before, I've learned things about how movement works in this game since the last.
Oh, the long crawling room.
Yeah.
Still so slow.
TAS
Probably
still has
the
to
only
deal
room
with.
in the entire game. Probably the only room in the entire game where a human player has a chance to keep up with the TAS.
Yeah, there's only one frame perfect input in that room that has that.
Yeah.
And it's the when you go out of a crawl space, you can stand up manually, and that is faster. So there's one input that's frame perfect.
Oh, is there a way to fall through crumble blocks faster, like in Metroid Fusion?
No, there's not. There's a thing in Metroid Fusion where if you spin unspin, you get pushed down a little bit every unspin. It's like you're doing a corner boost on air. But that's not in Zero Mission. So if I just spin unspin for no reason, like it doesn't affect my velocity at all. So that's what I did when I fell down really shortcut. I just did spin unspin, and it's like it doesn't affect your velocity in the slightest. It just looks funky.
So for Charlie, is the RNG value re-rolled after every shot, or is it set at the beginning of the fight?
It's re-rolled after every shot, so I can manipulate every individual shot with slight delays to get a really fast Charlie. You can also, if people don't know how Charlie works, you can shoot yourself. You can shoot yourself, and that gives you a faster time for the next glyph. I only have the health to do that once, though. Otherwise, I would do that on every activation. Oh yeah, I had to waste a lot of time in the room right before Charlie in order to manipulate RNG, and it's actually kind of visible, and I'm a bit sad. It's usually possible. It's usually possible to slow it down like a couple of frames without it being shown, but I had to wait like 20 frames in that room, and it's like you can kind of see it in the movement. I kind of like stutter on like every jump.
But it's still worth it in the end.
Oh yes. It's I get a way faster Charlie. Now this is again not that different. We're gonna go get
Graphic glitch. Nice.
we're gonna go get power bombs and then go into cleanup. But I don't have wave at this point, so there's still a couple of rooms end up being weird.
Nice. I didn't know you could make it down there without recharging for the long shine switching.
It is very tight.
Meow.
And like optimizing space jumps is a pain. It is super annoying because there are just way too many options of like which frames to jump, how long each jump should be. It's absolutely terrible.
Is there no rule?
Oh, hang on. This trick is really cool. I have to, in order to shine spark below that gate, I have to kill the pirates in the previous room to make the alarm turn off. And that spark is like frame perfect. There's no leeway.
Sweet. So okay, I don't think that's possible on console. Looking at it.
No, I would say no. And again, not having wave made that slightly awkward. I had to like waste the super to compensate, but it still worked out.
So now that we have space jump, is power gripping still a thing?
Yes. Wall jumping is no longer a thing. You can't even wall jump when you have space jump, but power grip is still like the fastest thing. So pretty much every vertical movement, I'm always looking to like which ledge should I power grip next, and how do I get there the fastest.
Okay.
Because it is almost always the correct choice when going upwards to just power grip things.
Hello, Black Pirates.
Oh yeah, so there's a relatively new trick again that's called Helpful Pirate, where we get a pirate to shoot a beam to destroy a couple of these bomb blocks for us. This task takes this concept kind of to the extreme and just kind of shoots all the blocks. This is a lot harder to do than it looks. I don't think anyone's ever gotten all the blocks at once. I think Scotty tried for a while and didn't manage to do it. He maybe got it once, I can't remember. But
it looks so simple.
They
really clear out all the blocks.
It is so hard to get them to shoot 9 times without like starting to shoot upwards or killing each other.
So how can they reach the blocks on the far end? Doesn't like the map? Does the map scroll that far? Like
their shots don't despawn out of screen.
Okay. Will we see door clip?
Maybe not. So the way we clipping into doors is possible. This is possible RTA too. There's a very consistent setup to get that to work. This RTA lets us take a completely different route to save a power bomb to make some RNG later more lenient. The task just uses it to like have an extra power bomb in one room.
But it's faster for TAS as well.
It is faster for TAS. That extra power bomb, getting to use that in the room right after door clip saves enough time. Even though that's the setup to get door clip is slower than just using a power bomb. Having that power bomb is more useful in the room later. So yes, it saves time.
Okay, and like that extra power bomb you have, that is the fastest way to use it, like.
Yes, as far as I know.
Okay.
But things turn out to be wrong all the time. But yes, as far as I know, that's the best way to use that power bomb. Before we have to take a force refill anyway.
Yeah. Not even TAS can skip the refill.
Not even TAS can skip refill. It's almost like it would be slower because we would have to save one more power bomb somewhere, and power bombs are really useful in Chazodia.
Okay, so since you said things turn out to be wrong all the time, are you sure this is the fastest way to beat the game?
I mean, with our current knowledge of the game, I would say so. But like I said, we find new strats and new routes all the time, and things change. Like when I made the previous 100% TAS, that was the fastest at the time, and this is faster than that. So we find new stuff.
Bring off the chrome box. Wow.
I'm just casually gonna win lottery a couple of times. This is a big deal in normal speedruns, where you want at least one powerbomb drop here to make a certain part faster later. TAS gets 2 because it like more powerbombs is nice.
Yeah, clearly cheating.
Double lottery is like exceedingly rare. It also breaks a big taboo, which is you should never place a powerbomb in this room, but it does that anyway because it knows what it's doing. So the powerbomb explosion has like weird properties where if you don't place it at very specific points, the blocks start breaking in weird, like there are weird holes in the powerbomb hitbox, and like it just doesn't break all the blocks, and it's a disaster.
Oh, but aren't you powerbomb short now? Or am I miscounting?
No, I'm fine.
Probably miscounting.
I won double lottery, so I had an extra powerbomb to spend.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like the concept of double lottery is so abstract to me. Like. Smart. I like that. I like that sequence of going back and forth so quickly.
Yeah. And very clever subpixel manipulation. You can fall down this room without landing on anything. It is a lot tighter than it looks. Anyone who actually runs this game normally would know that falling down through that room means you need to land on something.
Wow, all the corner boosts.
Yeah.
So this must have been like an incredible amount of effort to make. How did you keep yourself motivated?
That's a tough question. Well, streaming actually helps. So because I could stream making it, I could like have friends from the community hang out with me and talk, and we could do things. But I'm also very like just a stubborn person. And I've done these before. The first ones were not nearly as optimal and didn't take as long of a time, so that was easier. And by now I know I can finish these because I've done them. So I just know like if I just keep going, it's I'm gonna get it eventually. And like the end result is just really cool. I just love watching even my own runs and being like I'm so proud of this stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine. It must be quite satisfying. Dang.
Also just casual powerbomb drops because I can. Another weird graphic glitch that happens sometimes.
Oh.
Sometimes when you corner boost downwards, the game kind of just forgets to render a row of sprites. It doesn't affect the game at all. It's just a graphical glitch.
Oh yeah, we still have to fight Acid Worm.
Yes,
I
so we're
completely
doing Acid Worm late.
Okay, you probably don't want to blink for this. What is the fastest boss, anyway?
Brinstar Worm is vulnerable for a single frame. Acid Worm also dies on the first frame it can. Like it can't actually die before going down after the first attack, and it dies like it runs out of health before that, and then like dies spontaneously when the attack stops. So both of those are end on like the first possible frame, straight up.
And what was the most challenging boss to TAS?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Probably Creed. A quick note here that there's a scroll glitch that happens. The camera is tied to a certain block breaking to go down there, and if I just don't break that block using screw, the camera gets stuck on top and doesn't follow you down.
So, but you don't see what's going on down there. How can you move?
So what I do there is I I do the movement beforehand. Like I break both blocks, do all the movement, and then I like go back and edit it so that I don't break all the blocks.
I see. Smart.
But I could also just like, I usually watch memory values of the game, so I can see my position, I can see my velocity and stuff. So I can usually use that to navigate. It's like not a very complicated room below Acid Worm.
Okay. And you said Kraid is the most challenging boss?
It's hard to say. Like Charlie is also really annoying with all the RNG. Like the bosses aren't really that difficult anymore.
Okay,
Like these are still the same strategies that I've done forever.
Okay.
Ridley's like in this run, probably Ridley actually, because I had to take care to avoid lag. The game lags a lot with all of his fireballs and your own projectiles on screen.
Also, lag reduction is a thing, not only in Super Metroid. Oh, nice standing spark there.
Lag reduction is a thing in every game. This game is like runs pretty well.
What the zim?
This game actually runs very well, so it doesn't lag a lot, but there's still like you have to take care, especially in Chusodia and pirate rooms. It tends to lag a bit, but it's not a super big deal. It's usually like a couple of frames per room, but if you can avoid them, like you might as well.
So would optimizing this for in-game time end up with a different route? What is that space boost?
Every jump in that space boost is frame perfect, by the way.
I never knew.
That's in
Wow,
previous runs too, but yes, that space boost is ridiculous.
So yeah, sorry, the question. Would optimizing this for in-game time turn up with a different route?
I think so. I think the late wave route actually loses in-game time. I'm not completely convinced. Like the route itself saves time, but not having wave in Chusodia and in Ridley just ends up losing enough time that it doesn't save any in-game. But it saves like 15 extra seconds of real time, so it cuts out a lot of doors. So I don't think this route would even be good for in-game.
Yeah, this route is pretty slow.
Just casually getting a couple of powerbomb drops. I need those. I'm really like we need so many. This route is also very tight on powerbombs.
Wow, what are the odds of getting powerbomb drops?
Depends on the enemy, but it's usually for minor enemies like that. It's usually around like 1% or something.
Okay.
Bigger enemies like the Mega Sidehoppers have like a 10% drop rate or something. And like certain enemies have better drop rates for it, but like normal like Novas, it's like 1%.
Yay, wave beam.
Yeah, I finally have Wave Beam.
Oh, I know what's coming. Nice. So this is actually faster?
Yes. We're talking about the spark in general because that's faster because I have power bombs and I can blow up the second wall without moving away from the door.
Nice.
And also, getting to kill those worms this late lets us kill them really fast.
Just annihilated. Oh, okay. So the ball cannon is slower. Oh, yeah, right. There's still room. Oh man, this route.
This route is amazing. And like it looks really swag going bottom route there with this like space boosting below the platforms, but that is actually faster because I get the corner boost off of the platforms.
Oh, true.
It also looks really cool.
Man, there's so much you have to keep in mind, you know.
Yes, there's a lot of things that just need to work. Space boosting through the room again is faster because I get the corner boost off of corners.
Nice. What was the most satisfying part to TAS or to have finished?
I'm the most happy with the Turian part of this run because it just looks incredible.
Yeah.
So that was really hard to do. That was like, I know people saw that on stream and it went by fast, but that took a couple of days just to get the correct RNG for Metroids to spawn in the correct position, so I can get like we said, door clip is sub-pixel perfect on the enemy's position, not Samus's. So getting those Metroids to end up in the specific sub-pixels took a lot of time.
But the clips are all new, like they're not in the previous TAS.
They're not in the previous TAS.
Okay.
Door clipping in general, we've known that it works for a while, but we haven't like had a good understanding of how it works and how to use it properly until pretty recently.
Okay, so that was probably the last time we've seen the outside, like we spent outside of Trazodia.
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
We now have all the items outside of Trazodia.
I just ran through the pirate there.
Yeah, like
Okay.
I said, frozen enemy hitboxes are not very accurate, or rather they are very generous. The game doesn't want you to get like stuck in enemies. So if there's any kind of conflict of where the Samus should be, you just go through enemies. It's very nice about that.
Oh man, that's why I like dislike about. So that's like the only part I like about this category. You have to go so far just to get this one expansion.
Yeah, this one expansion is really far out of the way, and like even TAS has to do this part where they just go a long stretch of time without grabbing anything interesting because we just had to get this one tank right at Charlie that we couldn't get first time because we didn't have power bombs.
There's still no way to get early power bombs.
No. I mean, technically, there's a way to get early power bombs, but we die doing it, so it's not that useful.
Oh yeah, we're on pretty good pace actually. I hope Axoto's here. He's got the spreadsheet of the predicted times.
We've already gone through that. We had a preview showing of this task with a couple people from the community, like a bunch of people from the community, where we just watched it together and I had recorded everyone's reactions. It was a really fun time, and I recorded that, and I'm gonna put it up on YouTube later if people want to watch that as well.
Why did you ball spark the second time and not the first one?
Because it's possible to also ball spark, and it's funny, and they're both the exact same time.
Oh, they're exact.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're actually exactly the same time, so I just alternate. The first time through, it's actually not possible to ball spark. I don't have the time to do it because I didn't have wave. The spark is that tight that it wasn't possible without wave.
Lots and lots of space jumps. Wee.
And at this point, you see I'm starting to waste missiles.
Oh yeah, because you got a bunch of them.
I have a lot of them, but so I'm just like trying to find fun ways where I can spend missiles. I don't use on every spot, but I do a lot of them.
Oh, you can spark there. Interesting.
Yes. And this is a space boost that is only faster for tool assisted. This is very possible to do unassisted, but it just doesn't save time because you need to do it very precisely for it to be useful.
Ah, the second one I see. Yeah. Rather short as well. So one thing I've always wondered, is space boosting and shine sparking the same speed?
No, shine sparking moves faster.
Okay.
But it has like a long animation to start and a long animation when you hit the wall. So it usually shine sparking tends to be slower, the slower option in most cases. But it like the actual movement from shine sparking is faster than speed boosting. Just freezing all those guys.
No need for helpful pirates in the second pass.
No, we have a power bomb now.
What is the second most busted item besides power grip?
Ice beam, probably. Maybe bombs.
Because of the physics of ice beam? Yeah.
Yeah, because like pretty much every glitch in this game is based on ice beam. I mean, except for slope clips. That's just movement.
Oh, nice. The slope clip. I like that. Yeah. Space Jump tank, boys.
Yeah. And these blocks are really slow, so I'm just having fun. Also, like I said, I have a lot of missiles.
Yeah, what do we do with them? That's probably the hardest part, coming up with patterns to spam all those missiles.
Mecha really has a lot of health if you get 100%.
Wow, that was quick. Do you manipulate him, or does he just die that quickly that you don't have to?
No, I manipulated him to shoot fireballs as his first attack, because otherwise he's gonna swipe before I can kill him. Also, yeah, TAS cast overestimate because I was a bit. I didn't want to put the estimate at like an hour 5 minutes because it would look stupid, so I just kind of took an even number. It said it doesn't finish sub hour. I'm sorry for deceiving everyone, guys.
Oh yeah, I saw you. Like someone mentioned that the next task might finish below an hour.
I don't know. This task probably could have finished sub hour on VBA, but this hawk is slow. Or rather, VBA is way too fast. It is like super inaccurate.
Nice space boost.
And time. Slightly overestimate, I guess.
104. Nice.
101. That's still like 7 minutes below 8 minutes? I guess it's almost 8 minutes below real-time runs. Bust estimate because it didn't get first try speed jump. Yeah, that's it, John. I don't think that actually cost a minute, but yes.
Wow. Really well done. I like this.
Yeah,
So this is going to be on YouTube?
Yes, it's up there already, but unlisted. So I just I'm gonna have to write some descriptions, but it's gonna be posted on YouTube very shortly, sometime next week, and then be submitted to TAS videos as well. But yeah, so official. I started this timer like when we would normally start the timer for normal runs, but TAS timing usually starts from power on. So I think official TAS timing is an hour, 1 minute, and 13 seconds.
Awesome job.
We're just gonna see the in-game time, and then I guess that's it.
Casual world record by Dragonfangs.
Oh yeah, just world record in a marathon. What a beast!
Yeah, what's going on? And this route is also the fastest route for a human player.
In theory, no, it's not, because of how not having wave is really awkward, and the setup for doing the late wave clip is just so much slower. Like the setup we have to do that trick normally is a lot slower than TAS. So clear time is a clean 41:30. Good stuff. That only saves that saves 4 seconds of in-game time compared to the previous run. And I think it is actually slower RTA than the previous one because of the new emulator being a more accurate emulator. I would estimate, I haven't done this super thoroughly, but I would estimate it would save around 20 seconds RTA if it was on the same emulator over the previous one.
Then it's because of route and optimization.
Mostly routing. Like the route itself it cuts out a lot of doors. Yeah, so that's the TAS. I'm happy I got to show that off at the marathon. I hope you all enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was amazing. Huge thanks to Drake.
It was fun to make, and I'm happy it's done, and I'm happy I get to show it to people. But that's it from me. I don't know if you have any closing words you want to do, Toby.
No, I really enjoyed watching this, and I'll sure rewatch this once it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And thanks a lot, really.
You're welcome.
I think we all appreciate the work you've put into this, and I think it's people can probably hardly comprehend the amount of work put into this. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, so that's gonna be me. So good luck to whatever. I don't follow the schedule enough to know what's coming next. So I'll just leave it to the guys in charge. But yes, thank you for letting me show this off to you guys.
Yes.